Hi everyone, JJIR here, and in this video we're going to see a few things in relationship to Google Meet that have been coming up. We're going to see a few extensions which we should avoid, and a few things to resolve some problems that have been coming up. So the first thing we want to avoid is this one here, which is Google Meet Review. Not because it's bad, but because it's affecting some of the Chromebooks. It's somehow helping them to overheat or to cause a CPU to run a little bit hot. So the idea here is to avoid this one, not because, again, it's bad, it's just because, as well, Google is going to be offering the very same thing very soon as a 4x4 grid, as a grid view. So as long as this is going to be coming out, we can avoid the other extension, which could be causing some problems within some Chromebooks. So I would highly suggest just waiting until Google brings this out. On top of that, Google will be offering something later on, which will be to present audio within a Chrome tab, which previously was also complicated. So that will be resolved. And on top of that, Google is going to offer what would be low light mode and noise canceling, which is basically just getting rid of background noise like dogs barking and typing and whatnot. So all that's coming. So we don't have to worry about looking for extensions in relationship to these things. As well, we have something that's called Nod. This might be working on MacBooks and on Windows, but unfortunately it does not work very well on Chromebooks. So if you're using Chromebooks within your domain, it's better to avoid this because it isn't really working very well and just ends up taking up space. So if you really want to have this as something to where the students participate a little bit better, that's fine. But the best thing to do would be just to avoid it because it's not working as efficiently as planned. The other one we can avoid is Meet Attendance. This is also an extension that could have been better, but the fact of the matter is that it has a few bugs and doesn't work very well. And on top of that, it's fairly complex. So the best thing we're going to do here for that to solve this is I am going to make a video on something that Google already offers in Google Apps Script. I will create a video on this to make it much more simple so you guys can add it in your account or domain and allow you to use it that way. But given the fact Google already offers this, there is no reason to use an extension when this is going to be much more efficient and better. So just keep an eye out for that video, and hopefully that will help many of you resolve the problem of taking attendance when you are doing your Google Meets. So now let's talk about the problem of the links within Google Classroom. So Google offered the possibility of having Google Meet links within Google Classroom, and that's really cool. But the problem is we have the relationship with the students is not as clear, and if you don't have certain configurations set up, it can cause a problem. So if you have it to such a way that the students can create meets by themselves to work as teams, they can actually enter into this link even before the professors do. So the only way that you can fix this is by having the administrators turn off the option that the students can create meets. When that option is turned off, then the students cannot enter into this link until the professor enters first. To configure this in relationship to the administrators, we're going to go into the admin console here. Then we're going to go into apps here. Then we're going to go into G Suite. And then finally, we're going to go into Hangouts Meet and Google Hangouts. When we go into here, we're going to click on Meet Video Settings. And here, finally, we have to make the decision of what group to apply this to. So we'd actually have to go down and click on Students. And then when it finally lets us, we're going to go down here, and then we have the possibility of turning this video calling on or off. So again, if it's off, the students cannot enter into the link that's in Google Classroom here, as this one is here, unless the professor enters first. If, on the other hand, the video calling to be able to create meets or video calling is on, then the student can enter whenever they want. So now, if the school would like to have the students to be able to create meets so they can work as teams, then this is not going to work out very well. And therefore, we have to go into the configuration in Classroom itself and then go down here to this new section that we have as Meet. Up here, we have the possibility of copying it or reestablishing it. I'm sorry, this is in Spanish. I have to go back and forth in my accounts here all day. Okay, so now that we're back in English here, again, what I was mentioning is that you have the possibility of copying or resetting this. And then down here we have it says visible to students. So what we can do is we can turn this off so that the students do not see the link. And this link here, what we can do is copy it, and then we can get out of these settings here. Well, first of all, we have to press save, and then we can get out. And then here, whether it be in the stream or in classwork, it really doesn't make much of a difference in this case. What we can do is go here and then paste the link here. And then what we'll do is we'll program this, schedule it, so that it only comes out at the beginning of class. So that means that the students won't see this link until the class starts and until this has been programmed to be set up to come out for the students. So this is what I would suggest if you really want the students to use Meet and create their own Meets, then this is the way of resolving the problem so that they only enter into the Meet when the professor wants them to. So the professor still does have to get in at the same time as the students, because the students can enter into this before the professor, if the professor is late, so to speak, to the Meet. But if everyone enters at 8 o'clock, for example, then you shouldn't have any problems with this. Finally, after this has been published, so let's presuppose that it was programmed and it came out, so we'll just publish it now just for the sake of argument. After the class is done, the professor needs to go back here to the 3 vertical dots and click on delete, making sure that the link is not available then in relationship to the students. And that will also get rid of the possibility of the students going back in and using this same link over and over again by themselves. So again, this depends 100% on what the school wants or the business wants. But the idea here is that if you want the students to be able to create meets by themselves to work as a team, and yet you still want some sort of control over what the students do in relationship to the professor, this is the option you have to be able to resolve that, so to speak. Otherwise, like I said before, the administrator will have to turn off the possibility of creating new meets for students so that the students can only enter into the meet after the professor has opened it up. As well, when the professor is inside the meet and the students are there, remember that the best option there is to make sure that the students are all out before the professor leaves. If the professor wants to leave sooner than later, then what the professor needs to do is remove all the students before the professor closes the meet. And in this way, it's guaranteed that the students cannot go back into the link. If the professor tries to leave beforehand, then the students can remain there. But if the professor removes all the students before they close the meet, then they won't have any problem with that. And that should resolve most of the doubts and problems that we've had up till now in relationship to Google Meet for students. So if there's any other questions about this, please leave them in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to respond to those. Otherwise, I hope this helps. Please subscribe if you like this, and take care. See you in the next video.